and Randy Orton becomes your 2025 King of the Ring winner. But I think the WWE needs to go with a swerve here and have Raquel Rodriguez win. Yes, I do have Karrion and Kross winning this match, but he should definitely remain champion for longer than 70 days.
By Solo, and he wins the United States Championship!
One way to instantly give us that is by having Asuka defeat Jade Cargill and move on to face Io Sky for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship.
Jade Cargill wins! Queen of the Ring!
I can't think of a show where my predictions were as bad as they were for the 2025 Night of some Champions. I went 1 for 6. 1 for 6. Do you know how bad your predictions need to be to go 1 for 6? If I tried to be intentionally as wrong as I was, I would have probably gotten more things right than I did wrong for this one. By the time we got to the main event, I actually considered whether I made the mistake of choosing John Cena to win, which I felt was the most obvious choice of the 6 matches. Let's get into it, because a lot happened, a lot disappointed, and for those of you who want to hear a near 40-year-old wrestling fan complain about things, you came to the right place. Night of some Champions kicked off with the King of the Ring final between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes ended up winning and becoming your 2025 King of the Ring. Look back at the last 3 years of this man's run in the WWE and try to find me anyone who's had a better run than him. Back-to-back Rumble wins, 3 consecutive WrestleMania main events, an undisputed WWE Championship run that lasted well over a year, the Crown Jewel Championship, and now 2025 King of the Ring. This man is in full-on sicko mode and there is no stopping him. He can't even be contained. Cody is now headed to SummerSlam where he will no doubt main event one of the 2 nights as he challenges John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. Was the match good? It was alright. I enjoyed the storytelling for the most part as both guys played up some heelish tactics throughout and tried to one-up each other. I did kind of find it fascinating that Cody Rhodes was getting booed for the most part by the Saudi crowd, especially when he wrapped up Orton around the ring post and stretched out his back. For the most part, these two got in the time they needed and told a good story and put on a good show. I just wish the ending would have been different. Towards the finish of the match, he did go for that punt. He hesitated at first, but then he actually went for it and missed. And there was that glare post-match where he was kind of staring down Cody Rhodes, and I wonder if they're headed towards a heel turn for Randy Orton instead of Cody. 2009 Orton was a complete menace, and I'm wondering, do we see that side of him in 2025? And if so, what happens in the WWE if that does happen? I initially had the expectation that Cody Rhodes would be the one turning heel, and after this match, I'm kind of wondering if they swerve and pull a Randy Orton heel turn, but let me know in the comments down below what you would prefer, whether it would be Orton or Rhodes turning heel, or maybe even both. I started off the night strong with 0 for 1, and boy oh boy, did it ever go downhill from there. Next up was Rhea Ripley defeating Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight, and for all the naysayers that doubted Raquel Rodriguez's work in singles action, this match should offer a glimmer of hope. This was, by far and no exaggeration, Raquel's best in-ring work of her career. At no point did I think, geez, Rhea's really carrying this match. Not at all. Raquel and Rhea put on a street fight that put many of its kind to shame, and I think many can rewatch what worked for them as a source of inspiration for future street fights. I do have to deduct some points for whoever was in charge of the costume design because those outfits were way too similar to one another. Sure, Raquel's attire was a deep shade of blue, and up close you can notice it more, but from a distance it was really hard to tell and it looked black on black. Now Raquel did have the barbed wire and Rhea had the pumpkins on the detail, but again, from far distances and in fast-paced motion, it was really hard to tell at some points. And then eventually you had Roxanne Perez joining in, and she was wearing pretty much the same thing as the two of them. So again, it was 3 women wearing nearly identical costumes, and it was just confusing. Now for the ending, I really don't get it. Rhea doesn't need to win this to gain any momentum because she's already the most over woman on the roster. And Raquel is literally holding on to both women's tag team titles and begging for some prestige to be added to her name. And when you include Roxanne into the mix, this should have led to a Raquel Rodriguez win, but sadly, I went 0 for 2 on the night, and Rhea ended up picking up the win. What I am hopeful for is maybe Raquel notices that Roxanne did try to help her, albeit in a losing effort, and she does give her props for that, and it brings the two closer together, leading Roxanne to holding one of the 2 titles. They unfortunately dropped the ball on what I consider to be an excellent match. Okay, let's rip the band-aid off of this bad boy and talk about the Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross match. First things first, for those who ran the story that Karrion Kross couldn't take a flat back bump and that's the reason why he wasn't getting pushed in the first place, you can all suck an egg. Quite literally, grab yourself a dozen eggs, hard boil them all up, and suck on them. Here, I brought you a full dozen eggs, you can suck on these. I'm talking about also those reputable sources. Looking at you, Cultaholic. Kross himself actually addressed the rumors that he couldn't take a flat back bump and how ludicrous those were. And if you look back to any of his matches on Main Event, and this match included, you'll notice how ridiculous they really were. You can even go back to that interview where Scarlett herself points out that Karrion Kross's finisher, the Final Prayer, has him taking a flat back bump. Go ahead and watch it over on Main Event on any of his matches. You'll see that he actually does take a flat back bump. And then you rewatch this match over with Sami Zayn, and you'll notice that he's taking flat back bumps inside the ring, outside the ring, pretty much everywhere he can actually take a bump. Go back and count them. They're actually closer to 10 than they are 0. As for the match itself, this is what we've come to expect from Karrion Kross matches for those who got to see him in NXT. The pace is slower, every blow is more meticulous and calculative, and more concentration is put on facial reactions and body language. This is what makes Karrion Kross so effective in the ring. And then you add Sami Zayn into the mix, and he's that underdog that scratches and claws his way back, and you have all the makings for an excellent match. And it was good. The match was really good until the end. Kross is working Sami over in the corner and delivering several clotheslines, some of which even almost sent him over the top rope. But on his third attempt, after demanding that Sami admits that he was wrong and that he's the bad guy, Kross goes back over to the opposite end, only to be met with a haluva kick, and then Zayn gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Words cannot describe how deflating it is to see someone work so hard for several months to get his name over, be one of the top merch sellers, and have his popularity grow over time with the WWE Universe, only to be put down by Sami Zayn at his first PLE match since WrestleMania 40. And this is no shade to Sami Zayn. He's a local guy, he's from my hometown of Montreal, and I've been a fan of him since day one. But this finish made a lot of people upset. If you go to the WWE YouTube channel and you see the highlights for this match, the statistics aren't pretty at all. It has a really high dislike ratio compared to likes, and the comments are just full of people complaining about the finish and saying that Kross should have won. I said in my 7 things that need to happen at Night of Champions that Kross absolutely needed to win, and if he didn't, then at best Sami should have won by a dirty tactic to kind of push that narrative that he really is the bad guy, and what ended up happening was neither. We got a Sami Zayn clean win, and where Kross goes from here, I have no idea. Next up was the solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu match for the United States Championship, and it was also the point where I went 0-4 in my predictions and wondered if I was cooked for the rest of the night. If you go back and watch my video where I predicted each outcome, I discussed the possibility of a run-in for this match. JC Mateo was the obvious choice because he's the one that's around, but I also discussed maybe Tonga Loa returns after he was slated to come back from his injury in mid-summer, and we're approaching July, so the time felt right. And at the same time, I also said Hikuleo might come and cause some disturbance, and it made sense because he did have that dark match on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, so we know he's around. But for the love of God, I didn't mean all 3 at the same time. Talk about overbooked. You had JC Mateo running out to make the save for Solo, you had Tonga Loa returning to one of the bigger pops of the night from the Saudi crowd, and then you had Hikuleo, who is now going by Tala Tonga, so I'm going to refer to him as that from now on. The only thing missing was Tama Tonga, who is not physically cleared to return yet, but that would have been something if all of them were featured at the same time. Besides the finish, the match and the winner, I actually don't mind that much. Now you may say that Jacob Fatu's 70-day reign feels a little bit short, and I would agree with you, but now they have something set up for SummerSlam and beyond. Jacob Fatu now gets to play the role of chasing the champion, and he has the odds stacked against him with 4 against 1. He does have Big Jim on his side, and you do have to wonder if Jey Uso makes his return to reform the Uso tag team, and then there is the possibility of Roman Reigns returning to even the odds at 4v4, but I have to ask, does anyone really want to see Bloodline versus Bloodline anymore? Because I don't. That being said, I respectfully have to say I am happy for Solo Sikoa and proud of him for picking up his first singles title on the main roster. You have to admit, the man was overdue for something. He's been putting everything into his role, whether it was playing the head of the kiddie table or doing his comedic shtick. Everything he did, he gave it his 100%, so it was time for him to get something. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what hard work paying off looks like. Unsurprisingly, the Jade Cargill versus Asuka match was the shortest one of the night, and the outcome was not what I was expecting, to say the least. This was the point of the night where I looked at my wife and asked, CM Punk is really winning the championship, isn't he? Because at that point, I was pretty much wrong on everything I predicted. I'm not going to harp too much on Jade Cargill for this match. She's limited in the ring, she botched the finish of the match, and overall I'm not excited for Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam. A part of me hopes Naomi cashes in and takes the title off Stratton so that we can get a Cargill versus Naomi showdown. Why, you ask? Because we've already gotten Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton on an episode of SmackDown, and it really wasn't great. And that was just on a random episode of SmackDown, so can you imagine on a PLE match and SummerSlam at that? Yeah, no thank you. On the bright side, this doesn't mean the idea of Asuka versus Io Sky is off the table, as Cargill is on SmackDown and will challenge for the Women's WWE Championship, meaning Io Sky will still need a dance partner. And WWE, how about we finally get Io Sky a match for once? She's the World Heavyweight Champion, and we have her backstage parading around, holding the title, and praising Nikki Bella. We interrupt this video to bring the following message. While Asuka vs Io Sky sounds swell in a match that could main event Evolution, sources are now suggesting Io Sky may defend her World Heavyweight Championship against Rhea Ripley. God damn it was right there. You had Asuka and Io Sky talking about a match. Can we have just one match involving someone fucking else? How do you tease a match between the two and get our hopes up and then pull the rug from underneath us? Make it make sense. As for the result of this match, good on Jade for winning the crown, and I really hope she puts up a better showing at SummerSlam. I actually do like Jade as a person, and she has plenty of aura and the look to be a superstar. She just really needs to put the tools together and figure things out. And finally, we reached the final match of the night, the big main event between CM Punk versus John Cena for the Undisputed WWE Championship. Right off the bat, these two are trying to one-up each other and showing the Saudi crowd that this ain't their first rodeo together. Predicting one move after another, reversals after reversals, this is the type of match we wanted to see John Cena have during his healed retirement tour. Lo and behold, his best match comes when he's paired with CM Punk, who also brought the best out of Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Kind of feels like it's a trend when it comes to CM Punk, doesn't it? That said, I need to point out that the longer this match went on, the more it showed that it was a 46-year-old and a 48-year-old wrestling each other. The pace got slower, and not in a good way. At one point, Cena reversed Punk's swinging neckbreaker, and the two just kind of rolled around each other, and it was really awkward and really slow. I mean, these two were twirling around like when I get tangled up in my dog leash, and I'm struggling to get my foot out between the leash and my dog. It kind of resembled that, and if you go back and watch it, you'll know what I mean. Now, the finish of the match, I'm wondering if we're going to ever see something involving John Cena where the match doesn't end with a nut kick or bloodline rules. I mean, how many more times are we going to see an overbooked mess where a ref takes a bump? It's ridiculous at this point. It's almost a guarantee that when Cena is wrestling in the main event of a PLE, there's going to be a ref bump. Punk hits his GTS and covers Cena, and we get a 12 count before everyone realizes the referee's out and we need a new one. So Punk calls for another referee to come out, and then comes out Seth Rollins and his pack of bodyguards, and I have to say we need to have an uncomfortable discussion about Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed sometime soon. They come out to tease the Money in the Bank cash-in. Rollins orders his bodyguards to attack Punk, and then Rollins calls for his own personal referee, which happens to be Little Nate himself, Charles Robinson. And in true form to Little Nate, he makes a beeline for the ring, running as fast as possible, and I kid you not, I haven't laughed that hard seeing John Cena blast Charles Robinson the way he did. It was an unbelievable spot. After that, Reed and Breaker attack Cena, and Penta comes out for some reason, and that's when I was like, alright, shit's hitting the fan, what else is gonna happen? Penta, for whatever reason, casually made his way down to the ramp as if he was Jeff Hardy making the save for his brother Matt. Then Sami Zayn comes out and brawls with Braun Breaker before Penta jumps on both of them and lays all three out. Back in the ring, and yes, there's still a match taking place. Bronson Reed threatens to tsunami Cena, but Punk knocks him off the top rope. Cena then hits an AA, and we get a moment where Cena and Punk appear to be on the same page. Cena does his best, I am a robot that has been rewired to kick nuts, look before going for Punk's family jewels. Punk blocks and attempts to hit a GTS. Rollins hits him with the briefcase and then lands a curb stomp. Cena throws Rollins out of the ring, covers Punk. 1, 2, 3, match over. We all get to go home. Just even writing the script to record this video, I'm tired, man. At this point, just name every single John Cena main event match a Bloodline Rules match, because I think that's the best way to protect the referees and make sure that they don't need to take any more unnecessary bumps. Because at this point, every John Cena match will include an attempted vasectomy in the middle of the ring and up to 5 to 7 guys storming the ring to cause all sorts of chaos. Triple H, Paul Levesque. Can I call you Paul? I'm going to call you Paul. Stop overbooking the main event. Not every Cena match needs to be a WrestleMania 40 main event. I know that you've said in the past that if it's good enough to do once, it's worth doing a second time, but we're at time number 27. We can't afford to do it anymore. Please stop. And there you have it. And honestly, I'm exhausted even after taking the night to really collect my thoughts and do this video. I'm just exhausted. The more important thing that I want to know is how you felt about the show. What did you think about the results? And how are you feeling about the setup to this year's SummerSlam? Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Night of Champions. And if you liked this video, click like. And if you really liked it, hit subscribe and make sure to tell everyone you know about this channel. Your support really helps this channel grow. And every like, comment, and subscription takes seconds to do. And I appreciate you taking the time to do so. As always, this is Sean signing off, reminding you that no matter what you do in life, be yourself, believe in yourself, and above all else, stay persistent.